Easy.
Hey guys. Let me just finish the last 3 mouthfuls of my delicious salady tea. Really into salads at the moment. Because I'm dieting and things. Trying to anyway, it's not really working. But how is everyone on this fine Tuesday? I'm doing alright. There we go. Done. So that, if you're wondering, it was some ready mixed bistro salad, which I think is a bunch of leaves and then some thin bits of cabbage. I'm not sure, it's red stuff. It might be beetroot, actually, thinking about it. I'm not sure. But yeah, that, and then some feta cheese, some cucumber, a green bell pepper, and 6 or 7 slices of chorizo, and then a lemon, honey, and chili dressing. It's a little bit spicier than I was anticipating, but very nice, very refreshing. Yeah, highly recommend that dressing. It's literally just some olive oil, some lemon juice, and some olive oil, and you just mix it up. You can have it just like that, which is thing. And then today I added some why can't I see the cursor? Seven, 9. Okay, 3. Not AM. Can't see my pissing cursor for some reason. That was stressing me out. Let's try that again. There we go. Cursor on the screen. Alright. There we go. Yep. Okay. Before we get started, can I just say something? Thank you for actually setting the clock both times you booted up the game. A lot of people don't take that step seriously. They just leave the clock set at 12 and call it a day. But you're actually taking the time to set the clock, and I appreciate that. That's how I know that you care about this experience. You're paying attention. I don't even have any way of knowing if the times you're setting are correct. Tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You've been so cooperative. Next time you boot up the game and see the screen, set the clock to your favourite time. Go ahead and picture it whichever time you want, even if it's not the correct time. You've earned it. Alright, I'll let you get back to the video game now. That was completely random and insane. Okay. I don't know if this is gonna... Welcome back. I don't know if this is gonna take me back where...
Co-workers were gone. What could it
mean? Where it was.
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
I haven't found some daft like 42 endings on this.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just an empty broom closet.
Apparently this is when the end is reading that.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Yes, I am.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Yep.
Standing around doing nothing? Why? Please offer me some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
Because I can. The narrator can't hear me, I'm just saying it anyway.
Choice or anything in here, right? If I'd said Stanley walked past the broom closet, at least you would have had a reason for exploring it to find out. But it didn't even occur to me because literally this closet is of absolutely no significance to the story whatsoever. I never would have thought to mention it. Maybe to you this is somehow its own branching path. Maybe when you go talk about this with your friends you'll say, "Oh, did you get the broom closet ending? The broom closet ending was my favorite."
See?
I hope your friends find this concerning. Stanley was fat and ugly and really stupid.
Fuck you.
Probably only got the job because of a family connection. That's how stupid he is. That or with drug money. Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers.
Well, nice. What's your issue?
Well, I've come to a very definite conclusion about what's going on right now. You're dead. You got to this broom closet, explored it a bit, and were just about to leave because there's nothing here, when a physical malady of some sort shut down your central nervous system and you collapsed on the keyboard. Well, in a situation like this, the responsible thing is to alert someone nearby so as to ensure that your body is taken care of before it begins to decompose. Hello? Anyone who happens to be nearby? The person at this computer is dead. They have fallen prey to any
I imagine if like someone's not listening to it with headphones, people will like there's someone walking by going, "What?"
The long-term sustainability of your species.
The head of someone's wife popping around kind of going, the fuck are you playing?
Instruct another human to take their place, making sure they understand basic first-person video game mechanics and filling them in on the history of narrative tropes in video gaming, so that the irony and insightful commentary of this game is not lost on them. All right, when you've done that, just step out into the hallway.
What happens if I don't? I'm getting intrigued as to what happens. Give it a minute. Anyway, I did spy one ending that takes apparently 4 hours to complete. So it's called the art ending, which we're probably not going to get. I'm not. Generally, it's a good game. I just don't want to play it for another 4 hours.
Ah, second player. It's good to have you on board. I guarantee you can't do any worse than the person who came before you. You too? Unbelievable. I'm at the mercy of an entire species of invalids. Perhaps there's a monkey nearby you can hand the controls to. Fish? Fungus? Look, you can hammer out the details. I'm not particularly picky. I'll just be waiting for when you're ready to pick up the story again.
Just go where I'm sort of fighting the urge to look up all the specific endings. That sort of defeats the purpose. But remember the broom. There is a broom closet ending. Alright, I'm gonna... Okay, so that... Alright, technically, I just found... Technically, it's not an ending.
Going to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
So that was the broom closet ending.
Stepping into his...
Okay. There's something about you have to do. You should be back out in the hall. Should be a door that opens or something. Extreme bathrooms. I should just look them up. Alright, well. Can't do that one. Alright, now officially stuck. Alright. One involving his desk. There's all sorts of little things. Extra doors you can open. You are now leaving. See, this is new. The escape pod ending. Maybe not. Do. I'm going to assume I just need to keep going up. None of those doors are unlocked. A slightly different sound, but escape. I can't see. I can sort of vaguely see. Something. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it
Think
be?
that was the escape pod
Stanley
ending?
decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Maybe we try and do that again.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping in.
So I should have done is I go back down here. Should have opened that door again. Next to my office. I think. Yeah. Let me just. Field of view. Oh, I want the. Don't want that. Because this is say dark because it said just barely visible, and it seemed alright for you lot as well, what I set it to, but you get so far into this, it doesn't seem to happen. The other ending must be that you turn the machine on and then you've got to figure out how to stop the countdown. That's one of the and it's one of the endings I would like to get as well. I don't quite know how to do that. There we go. That's what I'm wanting. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room.
I think there was another ending.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either.
Right, we need to go
Feeling
up
away
to the boss's room.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. The moment he entered his manager's office, Stanley froze in his tracks. Not a living soul anywhere. Could he really be all alone? This was too much for Stanley to take. Too much for any man to take. He fell to his knees, bursting into half moans, half sobs, the guttural retching of life from a man denied any hope, any reason to keep going. Here on the floor, he lay prone, paralyzed by fear for nearly a full hour. But when at last he began to move about and survey the situation, he found a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could it mean? Was it a sign of hope for Stanley's future?
No.
Alas, it was not. For although this keypad guarded the terrible secret of Stanley's past, it had been assigned a 4-digit code so devious and so random that no man could ever hope to guess it. 2845. Statistically, nearly impossible. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna turn the machine on.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Right, okay. Right, I think we've got, looking at it, I think we've got more endings
Through the large door that read Mind
than I
Control
thought.
Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Okay. Okay. Right, we've actually ended up with this ending. In the game again. Right, okay, so we've ended up with that ending, so I've looked them up because I'm just going to spend ages doing that, so there's... Right.
All of his co-workers were gone.
First,
What did it mean?
activate
Stanley decided to go to the meeting
419's
room.
computer.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Then, restart the game again. Go to 423's computer and activate the input.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
This time, activate input on the computer screen just before entering the boss's office. Restart the game again. Right. Just before the boss's office, okay. We're gonna do that. I'll do
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
1 or 2 more endings. There's a heaven ending. This is the heaven ending that we're trying to get.
Yet there
And then
was
there's
no
1 or 2 more, and then we'll go check out the
Feeling a
new
wave of
content
disbelief,
room.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Um, 434. You will be taken to heaven. Welcome, Stanley, to heaven. There are 423 buttons. Right, that's in the game again. Right, that was the heaven ending. Right, we'll get the elevator ending.
His co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
And then we'll try the
Stanley
new
decided to go to the meeting room.
content.
Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any. Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk.
No, I did not.
That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming new age music.
Alright, so this one is you take the elevator that leads to the main control facility up and down several times, lead to the narrator sending Stanley to a conference hall where we'll give a press conference.
And rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Okay, that's this. I actually got more in this than I thought.
Whoops, nope, never mind. Stanley actually got back into the elevator and went back up. Silly me. Why did
The idle ending, it's the elevator ending I'm looking for at the moment. Patrick, how are you doing? That was the elevator ending, I think. Yeah, that must have been the elevator ending. Alright. I'm just looking for various endings.
Here we are, Stanley. It's your boss's office. Exactly the way it was before you got onto the elevator. It's still just exactly what it is. What a decision you've made to come up here and look at the office again. This
Sarcastic
fleshed out
twat.
the plot of the story in new and fascinating ways I could have never anticipated.
Really?
It's that keen eye for storytelling that you have. An incisive rapid fire of critical plot points, one after the other, weaving a rich tapestry of uncompromising narrative. Wow. I'm bolted.
I have to go back to the
edge of
office
my
every
seat.
time. Okay.
Incredible. Now he's getting back into the elevator and going down again. Ladies and gentlemen, how does he keep coming up with all of this?
No, that's not an ending, that's a loading screen. Believe me. Alright.
Did you think we were going to go forward down the spooky corridor? No. It's time once again to go back up in the elevator. I can't even begin to grapple with what might be up there. Is it the boss's office again? Or what if it's the boss's office this time? The suspense is killing me.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking up the other end. I probably shouldn't do that.
Oh my God. It's the boss's office.
I like the little sound effect there. Dun, dun,
Give me some time
dun.
out here for a minute while I process this.
This narrator getting more sarcastic by the second. Ah. How you doing, Patrick? Anyway, how's your week going so far?
Okay, I'm ready. I'm prepared to embrace this stunning revelation and to move forward with... No, wait. No, I need more time to process.
Definitely more sarcastic. Cool.
All right. I have fully come to terms with it. I have made space in my worldview for this astonishing new reality. As before, I turn to your expert eye for gripping narrative, Master Stanley. Of course, going back down in the elevator. How did I not anticipate it? I mean, sure, now it's obvious, but you have to understand that 30 seconds ago, this kind of thing had
One more
not been
time, down and
attempted
up.
before.
Okay.
I had no frame of reference to even anticipate it. That's just how revelatory Stanley's decision-making is. A breath of fresh air in a landscape of storytelling that has grown stale and
You can
repetitive.
tell that the developers had a lot of fun making this. That's one thing I will say about the Stanley Parable. Just like writing all the scripts and stuff. They must have had an absolute blast. And then if they were like there when the narrator were doing the recording the sessions, they must have been freezing themselves.
I've just thought of something. Hold on, let's stop for a moment. Don't you realize? It's the anticipation, Stanley. You and I, we have no way of knowing what will be at the top of this elevator, but the suspense, the agony of waiting and anticipating and having to guess, that's the real thrill. Oh, I simply don't want to let that feeling go. It's so precious, so fleeting. Why don't we take this elevator ride nice and slow? There we go. Isn't this so much more exciting? You know, Stanley, it seems like nowadays the only thing that audiences want is to be shocked as loudly and frequently as possible. They want big, explosive moments flung right in their faces from the very moment that things get started. But where's the
Tacky twat.
trust? Where's the trust in the audience to build a slow and nuanced appreciation for the story, the characters? Why aren't we given time to imagine the surprises? To have to think and to anticipate and then to marvel at the eventual reveal. This is storytelling, Stanley. What you and I are doing right now. This is the most exciting narrative to be developed in years, and it's really all because of you. You're the one who took this bold step of revisiting the exact same locations over and over. Truly, I mean it. This is unique and different. It's not like anything else out there. You see, I want stories that surprise me, Stanley. I want to have to think. I want to be engaged, not
Okay.
pandered to. We're being fed such
gonna put this away,
unimaginative
'cause
privilege
after
all the
this,
time, and we all
we-
know it, which is why we're so
check
starved for content.
new
that
content.
makes us feel sharp and vital and alive. That's why people like you so much, Stanley. Because you're not afraid to spit in the face of tradition. You're a rule.
Skippy.
You know? People look up to you. Which is why... Oh, I didn't know when to spring this on you, but, well, I've gathered a little press conference for you, so that you can talk about your work and your storytelling and your life. Yes, I know you're not much for the public eye, but I thought it would especially mean a lot to the people who have been following you from the beginning. They really look up to you, Stanley. I don't know if you realize the impact you have on them. This is the kind of gesture that might leave a tremendous impact on them for the better. Oh good, we're here. Okay, the room where we're holding the press conference should be just around the corner here somewhere.
Live on Stanley, live on stage.
Ah, yes, here it is, just through this door. All right,
The stage.
you're ready. I've told them you're going to speak a little bit about the nature of surprise in storytelling and what it means to craft a truly unpredictable narrative. Oh, don't worry, you'll do great. Just be yourself and speak from the heart. I'm really proud of you, Stanley. Okay, It looks like they're ready for you. Go get them.
You know when someone can't get more sarcastic if they tried? The narrator in this just took it to the next level. Here's a reason for the nickname. Right. I'm going to take the
All his co-workers were gone.
new content.
What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Means new stuff. See you later, Patrick.
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. As you may know, the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
I do know that.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home computers. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Oh, well, this sounds delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content. Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but
No.
I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure. Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
I get the feeling she's just gonna like dump us out back at Stanley's office.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley. All right, let's see. It's the jump circle.
Okay. Sarcasm in mechanics, that's a new one. Okay.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness, another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content?
I don't think they ever said exciting new content.
The whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And oh wait, there's more. Very good. Yes, I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is. That's it? Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's achievements, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test achievement, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid.
Yes, you did.
I never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about. No frills, no gimmicks. Just you and me having a great time together like always. What do you say, friend?
Excuse me. Ooh. This is definitely new.
Psst. Stanley, come over here. In the vent. I want to show you something.
Frick.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look. I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC. You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap re-release? Remember back in October of 2013 when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity.
That's quite good.
Then, it all meant something.
Took a Last of Us one to Stanley Parable over. Yeah. Oh, was the Stanley Parable the one that had one that was don't play for 5 years?
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk
Depressing.
with an hour of new elevator content.
Memory Zone maintenance area.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. It just needed to be left alone. to spend the rest of time collecting dust in the hallowed hall of beloved video game memories.
Well, it's creating memories for me. I will say that. A Serious Room 2013. Oh, how the bloody hell am I supposed to?
These were simpler times, Stanley.
Yeah.
What
There
I
we go.
wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here? Oh no. Oh God, no. Stanley, it's a collection of reviews from Steam, the online video game distributor. I haven't looked at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
I wouldn't count on that.
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
It's quite good to have done this.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley, I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness. This is actually quite shocking for me. Well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear. What an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure. Like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Perhaps not.
What's this one got to say? You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Skip button.
Here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the second my incessant droning starts to bore you, with just the push of a button, you'll have zipped right past it. It's what the players have been asking for, and I'm very proud to have delivered. No more listening to me rambling on. Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of course, I happen to believe it was perhaps one of my more profound such ruminations. Not that, of course, you need a description of it, but if I had to describe it, I'd say it was perhaps less of a rumination. Well there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right at your finger. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer.
Is it now?
The last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. It's not unendurable by any means. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're really... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk to again. Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time, I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year?
No, I can't say I have.
For you. To begin with, there is...
No door. Just gotta double check. Okay.
But they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs down review.
Here's our and just goes off on one about reviews. Love it. Well, this game's getting a review off me, I think. I'm not sure I'm good enough right to properly review it, but I'm going to try.
The end is never the end, 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 is...
We still can't get out. Okay. Pretty sure we'll eventually get to an version of the ending. Yeah. We can leave. Oh. The world is destroyed. Ah. That's quite good. I thought I might do something like that. And that was an ending.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
New content. Alright.
Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you. You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly re-release with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up.
I don't think this game needs a sequel.
It could go
I'll be
in
honest.
so many different directions. This is what fans
Didn't need
truly
the Ultra
been
Deluxe,
asking
if I'm being
for.
honest.
Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really.
Joe, that's not a guess.
Here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features.
Your name in the game.
For
But
Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim. I want you to imagine your...
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory.
Oh, sorry.
If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name. Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
alright, calm down.
Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim, developing a crippling substance addiction as Jim, rediscovering yourself through fringe religious groups as Jim, and finally, dying a slow death at an old age, surrounded by members of your cult as Jim. Do you feel it in your soul? Are you really, truly Jim right now? If so, then please step forward and press the button.
Jim.
Yes! You see? What a thrill! What a rush! That was you! The button described you! Do it again, do it again!
Yeah.
Jim.
It hits even harder the second time. If this were the only new feature in the Stanley Parable 2, it would still be worth the money. Let's take a break from the Jim button. I'm too emotionally drained from all of this personal validation.
Fuck's sake. Right, that's that bit.
I suppose I could allow only people named Jim to play the Stanley Parable 2. That would actually save me the work of finishing this feature.
Stanley Parable to Reassurance Bucket.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with? You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, step-niece, it is.
Oh, piss off then if you're not going to use my...
Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No, I've made my decision, we're moving on. You know what? Let's bring the jump circle back for Stanley Parable 2 as well. It's a... Oh, wait. You already spent all your jumps the first time we saw the jump circle. Oh well. I suppose it can just be a nice decorative piece then.
Whatever, you see your new achievement.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken test achievement that got left in the game on accident? Well, I'm developing a technology to simply give you the achievement. Yes, you see, you'll come to this lever and... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the achievement is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I guarantee it will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Why do I not believe you? Okay. All right.
What else? What other exhibits haven't we seen yet?
Epilogue.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Moon, hi. How you doing? Oh. Sorry about that, folks. I've just been training. So a little bit tired now.
A common complaint
But
with Stanley Parable
we'll keep
was
going.
that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game. It's
How do you
the
know?
Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime
Okay.
you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart. It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable.
I can see
Can you
that.
imagine what a
To be
pain in the
fair.
ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try. Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they?
Do they?
All this and more await you in the Stanley Parable 2.
I can open this. I can go through this door again. That's good. I'm just gonna carry this bucket around for the rest of the
Does
game.
anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
I'm pretty sure it isn't already. Collectibles. Let's go see.
Ah, collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
Collect them all.
It really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Okay.
Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think?
Well, I have to agree with that one.
What does it even mean? But the Stanley... All right, have you seen everything you wanted to? Ready to move on now? So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes, I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say, let's do an experiment.
Definitely a good
I'll
game.
put these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience. Okay, are you ready? Here it is. I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort
No,
of...
there isn't, my friend.
Hold on, let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go, version 2. Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game.
Rarely does that happen.
Love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original.
How you doing, man? Anyway,
Maybe
how's it
that's
going?
it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply, well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect. With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me see if I can whip something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
That was the Stanley Parable 2 ending.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed him. Stanley picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, but Stanley had felt the bucket calling to him, telling him that the employee lounge was simply the place to be. And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be correct? Was this better than the meeting room? Yes, Stanley thought to himself. Yes, perhaps it truly was. How insightful the bucket turned out to... No, never mind. The bucket was wrong.
Yeah.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room.
No,
Said the bucket.
don't go to the meeting room. Go somewhere else. The cargo lift, yes. Go there. Go to the cargo lift. Good.
Oh, well, look who's got cold feet. Well, from here, it looks like the only way... But Stanley feared that any path he walked might lead to the separation of himself and the bucket, his dearest friend. So he threw himself to his death, that they might die in one another's arms. How deeply touching.
Well, various endings.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Stanley lifted the bucket into his arms, and a wave of comfort rushed over him. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest. This was not the correct way to the meeting room.
I'm clearly not going to get all the endings, but I think we've got a fair number. I think we can honestly say
And here it was. Had the bucket turned out to be
we understand what the Stanley Parable
the bucket was
is all about.
Stanley took the door on his left to go back to the meeting room. And so the two of them detoured through the maintenance section and walked straight ahead to the opposite door. Oh, good, Stanley. I'm glad you found your way here. I knew you'd find this place eventually. You see, your friends and I are concerned for you, Stanley. We've come together here because we care about you very much. It's this bucket you're carrying around everywhere. The bucket isn't even from the original Stanley Parable. It's just sequel content. We're the ones that matter, Stanley. Classic characters from the first game, like the Adventure Line and the Broom Closet. Because that's what fans want from a sequel. They want more of their favorite jokes, not this bucket that they've never seen before. Yes, I know I'm the one who gave you the bucket, but you're spending too much time with it. Don't you want another story involving the Adventure Line?
No, the Adventure Line's dead.
Yes, yes, that's what the fans want. Let's do it. Whee! Look at that wacky line. Who knows where it'll go off to next? Oh, and it played some silly music as well. Now this is what the Stanley Parable is all about. Don't you remember all those great jokes from the original dialogue? Also, Stanley is addicted to drugs and hookers. Yes, it's as classic now as it was back then. Let's do it for the fans, Stanley. Let's give them more content exactly like this. But if we want to do that, you're going to have to give something up.
Oh, I can't. You're not giving me the option to give the bucket up. So how am I supposed to do
Don't
it?
forget it, Stanley. We need to get rid of the bucket. That's why I'm very proud to introduce a brand new character. This is the Bucket Destroyer. I think it'll make a wonderful new addition to the rich lore of the Stanley Parable. True, it also was not in the original game, but it's such a well-fleshed-out character with so much personality that to me, it already feels as though it's been part of the cast all along. Don't you agree? Can you guess what the Bucket Destroyer does?
Destroys
Don't need me to
buckets.
spell it out for you. Go ahead now, Stanley. Say goodbye to the bucket, and then pop it into the machine when you're ready. Now listen to me. It's crucial that you give it the bucket. I don't know what the Bucket Destroyer will do if it can't destroy your bucket. Destroying buckets is all it knows. That is its singular personality trait. Sure, I can hear you saying, how does a character with only one personality trait deserve to join the pantheon of beloved Stanley Parable characters?
Well, I mean, that's a good point.
Well, you see, if you were to really explore the Bucket Destroyer, you would see that its desire to crush buckets is so densely loaded with complexity and nuance that it's really like 10 personality traits. What other object in this game can you even say that about? The Broom Closet? Certainly not. I wonder what sort of Bucket Destroyer merchandise the fans will be clamoring for after this. Okay, the Bucket Destroyer is getting very upset now. You'll have to hurry and feed it. We can't get back to the classic Stanley Parable characters like the Adventure Line or the Bucket Destroyer until you crush that damn bucket. Quickly now, the fans are waiting. Do it, the fans, Stanley. Give the fans what they want. Hurry and...
Well, I'm guessing that was the Bucket Destroyer ending.
The Bucket Destroyer, my prized creation. You had so much potential. We were going to do such marvelous things with you, tell such spellbinding stories about you. All of it squandered now. Goodbye, new friend. For the moment in time that you were here, you were
Magnificent. There's just all the endings are just crazy. Alright.
Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was.
Yeah, we're not picking up the bucket this time.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this? But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps
I've
we've
definitely fallen off this to my death.
I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines. Now, listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door. I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me.
Yeah, because I had so much choice.
I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you. What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here.
No.
Right in this No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no.
In the game again. I'm not jumping off there again. We did that a ton last night. Endings. All endings guide. Alright, let's just do it. Villains before the two doors room. Alright.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that.
Have an ending.
No.
Oh.
This couldn't go anywhere except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes.
434.
Even now, Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Keep trying to jump. Apparently I'll get an achievement if you keep trying to jump. Right, you get out. There's apparently a way to get out the window. Okay.
At first, Stanley assumed he'd broken the map, until he heard this narration and realized it was part of the game's design all along. He then praised the game for its insightful and witty commentary into the nature of video game structure and its examination of structural narrative tropes. So, now that you're here, what do you think? Isn't this a fun and unique place to be? Why don't we take a minute just to drink it all in? Okay, I'm over it now. What do you think? Are you sick of this gag yet? Well, I don't know how to say this politely, but you could literally just hit escape and restart the game any old time you want, like right now. You could have done it just then. Now would also be an appropriate time to quit. Any of these points and so many, many more, all of them are appropriate. I'm enjoying what seems to be an internal conflict going on where you are literally unable to act on your own desires to restart the game. So, just to push the envelope, I'm going to try and make this as miserable as possible and see how long you can maintain.
I want to hear the song.
There once was a man named Stanley, who people considered so manly. But the truth must be told, he was not very old and was quite particularly gangly. What Stanley liked most was buttons. He pushed them like some kind of glutton. He did it all day in a meaningful
That's true.
way, but his brain had long ceased to function. Which is why he is in this parable.
In the game again. Rather than going straight out of Stanley's office, right? Sometimes it will be worse. Right. Leaving Stanley's office now, opening the room 426. Okay. Well, apparently I can't get the whiteboard. Can't open the door. He opened the door. That's annoying. We've got the insane ending, the escape pod ending, press conference ending, museum ending, bottom of the mind control. Countdown ending. Alright. We can't do that one.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Gotta go up to the boss's office. Up to the boss's office. Where can we find him?
Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
You're the building, eh?
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini stands?
Sounds good.
Stanley figs.
Mini stands.
What about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
I don't like Stanlerines.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Sarcastic twat. Okay.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Apparently it is possible to climb on this chair. Fall into the abyss below.
Aha! You've made it to the bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Welcome! You see, back when the Stanley Parable first launched in 2013, getting to the bottom of the Mind Control Facility was a bug that we simply didn't catch during development. And you all sent us lots of photos of it on Twitter and acted very superior about it. And you're all very, very clever. Good for you. Anyway, when it came time to update the game, we knew that we had to do something about this little goof of ours, so here you go. New content. You can call it the bottom of the mind control room ending, if that enhances your perception of the value of these updates. Isn't that what you crave? New content? Always more content, more content, more.
Yes, more.
Give it to you. I'm here to make it seem like we really covered every nook and cranny of the game with secrets and Easter eggs. How about this? We wrote a new piece of music just for this section. You won't hear it anywhere else in the game. It's a secret that's just for you. That's how special you are. We call this track, Good Job You've Made It to the Bottom of the Mind Control Facility. Well done.
Good job, you did it. Good
Yeah, you did it.
3, 2, 1. Good job, you made it to the bottom of the mind control facility.
Good song.
You jumped on the catwalk. You should have been careful. You should have been careful.
It's a deliberate choice.
It used to be a bug, but now it's an ending. Now it's an ending.
Alright. In the game again. Right, we've got the vent ending. Right, the vent ending. Let's go try for the vent ending. Right, ending paths. Okay. So we're on the right door. So we've actually, according to this thing that I'm reading, we actually beat the game last night. Because there is one
When Stanley came
that is
to
considered
open
the
doors,
true
the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it
ending of the
perfectly
game.
well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked
Someone
straight
said,
ahead to the opposite door, and got back on
when
track.
getting in the lift, it's possible to go stand over the fence on the left. Using a plank prod to put it against the boxes. Plank propped up against the boxes. There is no plank propped up against the boxes. What are you talking about? Alright, there isn't. This is the cargo room, isn't it? Oh. Crap. Cargo room is the other room. Right. One where we can fall to his deaths.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was
You're
only a
just being an
matter of
idiot.
time
Okay.
before he found the
That's
others,
fine.
wherever they were.
Right, we'll get
Just
however
a
many
matter of
endings
time.
we can get before the end of the stream. And then that's it for the Stanley Parable.
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
There we go, vent ending.
Stanley had now gotten himself so far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun. So far off the beaten path that it seemed the office had begun.
You didn't think I was actually just a recording, did you? What a silly and trite explanation that would be. All the back and forth between you and me, all the absurd adventures we've been through, and it all turns out I'm just a tape recording? It was all just in Stanley's head. I bet that's the kind of twist you think is revelatory. I bet each and every time you watch a movie where it turns out all to be in the main character's imagination, you must absolutely bolt off the couch in pure shock at the phenomenal and intricate storytelling. It must be so simple to be you. Life being an unending waterfall of surprises and delights.
Oh, shut up.
How much more exciting you must find the world than the rest of us do. Now I've become sad. Look what you've done to me. This is all your fault.
Okay. The Earth ending. Games ending. Skip button ending, sequel ending. Okay. Let's get all the figurines. So we've got 3 of them. Both of these, right, see, Stanley figures 2 and 4. Second thing is inside the cargo room, which needs to be grabbed by walking off to the left skylift and carefully walking from the lines that leads towards the figure. Stand there, however, the girl has to crawl into the name by fin and receive a new ending.
How wonderful.
Okay.
Stanley was alone. Finally. This is great, he thought to himself. This is what I've wanted all along. I got what I wanted. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was grand, majestic, perhaps, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
I can see.
Okay, I'm going back to the name of these little Stanley figurines, and now I'm torn between Stanlerines and Figlies.
Figlies are better.
What name better encapsulates the intrinsic sense of happiness that you get from seeing a
Last thing
small
is
number in the corner of your
what's
screen
off the
go
main
up by
cargo list
one?
onto the catwalk
Let me sit
below.
on it. I'm sure it will come to me.
Right. We're going to do this as quickly as we can, and then this is going to be
Stanley just needed to
our
get to the
final
meeting
ending.
room, and from then on, he would never be alone ever again. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. And here it was.
the lounge.
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others?
Yes.
Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you?
Yes.
Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Before going third white door, I must have already got that one. Can't remember. Okay. Alright. Alright, left door. 3, 5, and 6.
Already this was
I've only got 2
Stanley
left.
decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
We take the left door this time.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Alright, 3 and 5.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. You're getting close now, Stanley. You've nearly
Right,
got
and then the
all
last one.
Figler and Marines. Very soon, you'll collect the last one, and then the first number will equal the second number, and that will be it. We'll be different people by then. Different in the sense that we used to have none of them, and now we have them all. You can't go back to when you had no Figler and Marines. None of us can.
Okay. Do that. Door on the
Someone
left.
was following Stanley. He was sure of it. If he checked over his shoulder now, he would surely catch them. It was only a matter of time.
Yeah, except that's a lie.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
It will be a reward for finding them all.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
Hey, last one.
And there it is, the last Stiggly Wiggly. Savor this moment, Stanley. This is a real accomplishment. This is doing something just for the sake of doing it. Where so many people expect to be rewarded for the most trivial achievements, you've insisted that a job well done is its own reward. I would tell you that I'm proud of you for collecting them all, but that would be like a reward, and we can't have that. So, instead I'll just say, it's done. We're all done here. And now we can go to whatever the hell you were doing before you hunted for figurines.
Mm-hmm. Hang on. No, there isn't like a weird epilogue ending. This give me the figurines and apparently.
Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines. Those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life?
No.
Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone? I would love nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
I'm remembering when Stanley found the collectibles.
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
Mm-hmm.
And here was a second Stanlerine. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around by the red and blue doors. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them.
Ash.
6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways. Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini Stan? Can you remember?
Pretty sure it was this one.
No, the warehouse was the 4th place you found a Figanley, not the 3rd. Well, I guess perhaps I shouldn't be surprised. Memories like these are so precious and so cherished that they all just sort of blend together, don't they? You know what? If the warehouse feels like the 3rd place you found a collectible, then who am I to go making judgments?
Exactly.
Let's see. What came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Pretty sure he didn't.
This was the 5th mini Stan, and this one was really something special. It was under the stairs. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
I've seen actual YouTube videos like this.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Alright. The last one.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here behind the boss's office. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others.
Perhaps.
Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figley and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
For fuck's sake.
And then there was no more, because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Alright, folks.
No. Ready to move on.
Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the memory zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels.
We've got 5 minutes.
Okay, yes. The back of the boss's office. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour,
I must admit, this is quite
is the most
a good,
distinct and clear in my mind.
like,
Let's keep going. I want more.
meta the narrative on collectibles in video games. I have to give the game that.
We watched. Yes, I love that video.
Okay.
Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room.
It's a solid room. I will give it that.
These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have muted the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's why we got the pink room. Because we didn't pick the boss's office. I get it now. I get it. I get it.
This was our second Figley. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going. This is it. The very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
This.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then. But time does put a rosy filter on. Oh, yes, the two doors. Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one.
This is possibly the best ending so far.
And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember. Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was...
Okay.
different.
I'm glad I started this
Make
part.
big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy. And I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no
Thanks.
reason. Why did
I am
use Stanley?
very proud of that particular thumbnail. It came out really well. And it took me about 10 minutes.
And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he
How you doing?
was so much fun to play with.
You've turned up just in time for me to close the stream down, but let's have a quick chat.
Memory. Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Well, I'm just being done, my friend, so don't worry about that. I'm literally, you came in as I'm about to quit. So, yeah, before you go, quick update on the game. How's it going? Progressing well? The people want to know. Guys, that's Pry Into the Void. Ernest is developing that all on his lonesome. Well, I think there's a few helping going on. There's a Kickstarter for it that has been funded. Keep an eye on it. There's a demo on Steam. Pry Into the Void. Go play it. Check it out. And when the full game comes out, we will be playing that on stream. So. Cool. So you've you doing the boring bit, unfortunately. Oh well. All the good bits come with the boring bits, my friend. Don't worry. Get past that and you'll be fine. Gotta get it out of the way. It's just one of them things, unfortunately. But you know what? I'm gonna go because I need to go to bed. You need to go to bed so you can have plenty of energy to do all the business, boring business stuff, and then crack on with the game. So, dude, it's awesome to speak to you, as always. Can't wait to see the next update on the game. And yeah, guys, go check out the demo of Pry Into the Void. Ernest does appreciate it. And yeah, good night, everyone. Sweet dreams, and catch you next time.